Hi, I'm Erin Lucy, and welcome back to my channel. Today I am finally doing my March wrap-up, talking about everything that I read during the month of March. Yeah. I'm editing and I realized I forgot to mention that I put my ratings in the description below. I don't talk about them a ton. I prefer to just talk about, thoughts about the book, because I feel like we all have such different opinions and ratings. But I also did not put any for the memoirs because I just feel like it's really hard to rate memoirs. So yeah, if you're looking for like a star rating, if I didn't mention anything, then they're in the description box below. Okay, back to the video. So I'll start with Black Cake was the first one that I read, which is super popular right now, and rightfully so. It was amazing. It's about two siblings, Byron and Benny, who are kind of estranged when the story opens, and they basically get a call that their mother has passed away and she has left this recording, but they both have to be in the same place at the same time to listen to it. So the story follows kind of them listening to this recording, and the recording kind of is telling a story of their family history. So it's amazing. There's like some mystery, there's food, kind of the family history, like their family stories take place in the Caribbean. So kind of like this island life in the Caribbean. And yeah, I loved all the characters. I thought it was beautifully written, definitely worth reading. And yeah, definitely a 5-star read for me. So that was starting off the month great. The next was Spy Family. I read another manga just in this series, and again, just like really cute synopsis of at least the first 3. I was doing some research and found out that I'm not sure it's like I don't think they're all about the same characters. But the first 3 are definitely about this guy who's a spy, and he needs to have like a family to get closer to this this guy who goes to this like private school, and the only way to get close to him is to like have a kid who goes there. So he like finds a family, and this one is the second in the series of their adventures. It's really cute and like an adventure, really intriguing and really quick to read. So yeah, that was really fun. Next is a short story called The Grown Up by Gillian Flynn, and my friend bought it when we were shopping for books in Boulder, and I read it on the way back, and it was really interesting. It's like this mystery short story basically about this girl who is kind of a con woman, grew up in not great situation, and is kind of trying to make her way in the world. But she comes across this woman who needs help getting rid of like she feels like her house is kind of haunted. And so there's something going on with her house, so she asked her to come because she's like working as like a psychic. And she goes and tries to figure out what's going on in this house. So I thought it was fun, really short, and the ending to me did not disappoint. There were some good twists and turns. So that was the next one, short but really fun mystery. The next that I read was The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime. And this one is from the point of view of this boy who is autistic, and this one also kind of has a mystery, and it's telling his point of view in trying to discover what happened to this dog. And it's sad, but it's really beautifully written, and I thought it was just like a perspective that I haven't really read too much from, so it was really interesting, and I highly recommend it. I really liked it. So then I read a couple of autobiographies. The first was Know My Name by Chanel Miller. It is about Chanel Miller's experience in the aftermath of being sexually assaulted by Brock Turner at Stanford. And that was a super high profile case in the media, but her story didn't really get told. So She wrote this book that was extremely well done and made me cry and get so frustrated at the system, at how people are perceived. I highly recommend it, but it is like pretty heavy and pretty in detail about things. But I feel like it's just a really important perspective to have told, especially when a lot of the media focused around Barack and not Chanel Miller. So yeah, I would say, I'm not sure like enjoyable is the right word because it's really sad, but I thought it was amazing. And yeah, definitely worth reading, especially in this day and age. Yeah. Then I read Brandi Carlisle's autobiography, Broken Horses, which I'm a huge Brandi fan, so I was really excited to read this. There's a bunch of music in it, and it kind of like talks about how she came up with a lot of the songs she wrote and what her inspiration or the events in her life that led to those songs, which was amazing because I have listened to a lot of her music, and it was so cool to get like the background for her songs and just her life. Super interesting. It's one of those books I would say, like, if you really like Brandi Carlisle, definitely read it. I also felt, though, like it gave me very, like, Daisy Jones and the Six vibes. I'm guessing that's mostly because of just, like, the music world. But I don't know. I had, like, a similar feeling throughout reading it. Definitely not quite the same plot-wise because it's her autobiography, but I just feel like it had similar feelings and vibes. So I also really like that one. A lot of really interesting things. Yeah, Brandi Carlisle's Broken Horses. Definitely recommend listening to that. I listened to both Know My Name and Broken Horses, and they're both told by the authors. And I just love that. Like, I just feel like it really brings a whole nother level of to like the experience of reading. So yeah, definitely recommend listening to them, especially since Broken Horses has so much music with it. I think not like every chapter, but like every couple of chapters there would be like a couple of songs that went with it, especially the ones that were like relevant or that she wrote during like that period that she was talking about. So super cool. So next is my other 5-star read, I Who Have Never Known Men by Jacqueline Harpman. And this is translated, I believe, from French, but I think the author is Belgian. Oh my gosh, so brilliant. Okay, so I had so many thoughts on this. It's very like speculative and kind of philosophical. Not super strong in plot, if that is what you are interested in. It gave me very like Memory Police vibes. I've also heard it likened to The Handmaid's Tale, but I haven't actually read that. Essentially, and she tells you this all from like the first page, it's told from the point of view of this girl who's around 15, when she, like at the start of when she's talking about, she basically grows up in this bunker underground. They have no idea why they're there. It's her. She's the youngest, and so basically she's never known any life but that. She was put in there when she was like 2 or 3 or something like that. But she's with 39 other women who are all much older than her, and have like lived lives back home. So there's a lot of mystery because we have no idea why they're there. They don't know why they're there. There's a lot of like contemplation about like what is going on, why they're there, and you're kind of like thrown in after they've been there for like 12 or 13 years. And what happens is this alarm goes off, the guards like leave, but they're able to escape, and things are not what they seem outside of the bunker. So she basically talks about it on like the first couple of pages, kind of gives away a lot, that like I think it opens and she's like by herself, trying to survive and still figure out what's going on. So it's very like speculative, like a lot of like thinking about what it means to be human and trying to think about like why they're there and what the situation is, but like not really finding a lot of answers to it. So that is the warning I will give. If you like things being concluded really nicely, then this is definitely not the book for you. Again, they talk about that right away in the first couple of pages. It's just more about this like experience and this girl trying to figure out her place and what it means to her to be human. I thought it was amazing. It just like made me think so much. It's similar to the Memory Police because I feel like I'm gonna be thinking about it for a long time to come. Different themes though, for sure. And yeah, I just loved it. I could talk about it for so long. I don't want to get too into it if you are interested in reading it, but like I mentioned, they kind of give away a lot of like the plot right away. The introduction that I have in my copy was written in 2019. So this book was published in the late 1990s. But the introduction I thought was also really interesting. I read it once before, you know, didn't really get as much out of it, but then I read it again afterwards. And I found that to be kind of cool because I had a lot of my own thoughts about the themes and what was happening, but a lot is like kind of just talked about right away. It's pretty short though, like under 200 pages. I got through it so quickly because I was just so intrigued. I wanted to know what was going on, more about this girl. So yeah, highly recommend. I loved it, but definitely be warned because it's a specific kind of book. So, I Who Have Never Known Men, I actually have no idea where I heard of this book. I haven't really seen it around at all, but it's very like my vibe in terms of like thinking about humanity, future, what it means to be human and to be alive. So I really loved it, but yeah. One more book, and that was The Keeper of Night by Kylie Lee Baker. And this is like a fantasy book about this girl Ren, who is half Reaper and lives in London, but she's also, her mom is Shinigami. So she's half Shinigami and has powers that are both associated with being a Shinigami and a Reaper. And she is living in London though with her father and her brother, and is kind of an outcast though because she's half Shinigami. So this book is about her journey to like leave London and discover her Shinigami side and kind of try to find a place in a world where she feels like she's not really accepted fully by the Reapers in London. So yeah, most of the story is this journey of her discovering the Shinigami, her Shinigami side in Japan. I will say that like the whole like folklore and like the world that was brought into it with the Shinigami and the yokai, which are these like spirits that can be both friendly or foe and are kind of, they're a big part of her journey as a Shinigami in Japan. And it was really interesting. Like, I didn't know a lot of this stuff, so that was really cool. I thought it was all so interesting, and I feel like I learned a lot about Japanese folklore. Yokai can take different forms that are usually kind of like part human and a part of nature in some way. So there's one that's like a turtle with like a human face, or some are like kind of part of the ocean. So that is really interesting. So yeah, I really loved that side of it. I thought I hadn't read much about any of that, so I thought it was just so interesting and new for me. I also thought the story was really interesting and the characters. I did have like a few kind of qualms. I didn't like, there were just a lot of things that I feel like weren't fully explained that could have been, like how time worked. I didn't really understand. They actually mostly just talked about it in the beginning, but I didn't really understand what was meant by a lot of things. Similarly, I didn't really understand what the difference between the Reapers and Shinigami and humans, like they kind of, I don't know, the author kind of explains some of it, but I found it to still be a little bit convoluted. So that was my other opinion on it. Overall, again, I really liked it, but just had a few things like world building wise that like didn't quite make sense to me. And then the pacing was also a little bit strange to me, but it was just kind of like this immediate, like we're in London, they're like going through this thing, and then like they get to Japan really quickly in the beginning, and I feel like it kind of was like skipped over a lot of that. But I think they're also trying to like get to Japan because a lot of the story happens there. So yeah, it just felt a little bit awkward to me. But overall, I think it's definitely worth reading if you're into like these fantasy histories, especially like bringing in different folklore from other places. So yeah, that was The Keeper of Night by Kylie Lee Baker. So that was my reading month. It was overall pretty good. I was a little bummed I didn't get to a lot of things on my reading, like TBR, but I don't know. I feel like I was in a bit of a reading rut for a lot of the month. So I'm hoping that April is a little bit better. And yeah, I would love to hear what you have read in the past month. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great day.